Hello Internet, welcome to the Doing Ideas channel. JavaScript lesson 16 is going to be on DOM events. We will be starting by adding an event listener to an element. So let's get started. In my HTML page, I have a h2 with the ID of main heading. Let's select that element first. I have selected that element using the getElementById function. Now let's add an event listener to this element. So main heading dot add event listener. First, I have to tell what I am listening to. I am going to listen to a click event. Then I have to pass in the function literal. It can be a function reference as well. I am going to console log I was clicked. So let's refresh and check this out. When I click this, I was clicked, console log has been shown. That is how you add event listener to an element. Now there are two phases. There are bubbling and capturing phase in event propagation. These are event propagation modes. What event bubbling and capturing phase means is how the event, when actually is the event triggered. If you go to, I have this link here that explains this pretty well. I will have this link in the description as well. First, let's check the event capturing phase. Let's say that you have this button 1 that we have added an event listener to. The browser first starts with the window and goes down to this button 1. And when we are going down, it notifies each element. So document, it notifies the document, it notifies the HTML, the body element, all that have been notified before it captures this button 1 event. So if we have an add event listener to this button 1, and if we listen to another parent elements button, this 1a element, then in the capturing phase, this will fire first, and then the button 1 will fire first. Let's take a look at an example. I have this main heading that is inside a class of a header. So let's add an event listener to this header div as well. First, let's select this header element. So var header is document dot get elements by class name, and I'm going to pass in the class name of header, and I want the first element because the class name returns a node list and I want the first element of that. So let's do a header dot add event listener, and I'm going to listen to a click event, and I'm going to say console dot I'm going to say parent element listener was clicked. Okay, now let's check how this works. Now in the default phase, not the capturing phase works, the bubbling phase works. That means when I click this event, this fires first, this console log fires first, and then this will fire. So if I do click on it, it says I was clicked, and then the parent element listener was clicked, because in the bubbling phase, first the button 1 gets fired, and this is the bubbling phase, and let's assume that this 2 element is the parent element. This gets notified later on, so this gets fired later. But we can change that. We can say that header add event listener, I want to use the capturing phase. The way you have to do is pass in a third parameter to this add event listener. So if I give comma true, now this will listen to the capturing phase. So this will fire first before this. So let's refresh and check it out. See, parent element listener was clicked, fires first, and then I was clicked. So that means in the capturing phase, this phase, if we are listening to this element and we have a parent element who is also listening to a click event, this gets notified first. That means this listener fires first and then this listener. In the bubbling phase, of course, this fires first and this fires second. Okay, so that is bubbling and capturing phase. Next, event delegation. Event delegation is really important. We will use this most of the time. But that event delegation is, we can listen to a child event. Let's say we want to add a click listener to every one of these list elements. But if we have to do that, then we have to put IDs for all these LIs and get the element from that ID. But we can add a listener to this my list use for this ordered list and listen to the child events. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to select the URL. My list is the ID, so let's copy that. Say list and document.get element by class name, not class name, actually get element by ID. It has to be get element, and I want to pass in the my list ID. Now let's listen to child elements. So if I add an event listener to this li tag, let's make it OL, and let's listen to an OL add event listener to this. So click function, and this add event listener and this function gets an event object. So we have this event, and let's console log that event object and see what it has. Let's refresh and check it. Let's click on one of the LIs. We get mouse event, and we get all of these properties and functions, properties of this object, event object. So we can find out which LI was clicked by using the target property, and let's get the node name. Let's refresh and let's click on element, and the node was edge 4. That's because I have an edge 4 inside this li tag. If I remove the edge 4, then I would get an li. Let's click this, I get a li. So if I want the text inside of this li, I can do node name, not name target. I can get the text content. So let's refresh and click on this. We get bubbling and captain face. If I click this, we get event object. So we can easily get the value and the element that was clicked by adding addEventListener to the parent element and not to each and every child element. Okay, next is the stopPropagation. Okay, so let's have this header once more, and okay, let's make this header div the parent element of all of this. So let's paste that. Let's add an event listener to that. Now this will get fired at any time a child event gets clicked on. So if I click this, parent element listener was clicked. So let's remove the true and use the bubbling face. And if I click this, bubbling caption face was clicked, and then the parent element listener was clicked. If you want to stop this event from bubbling up, we can use the stopPropagation function. So here we can say event stopPropagation. What that does is it will stop the event from propagating up or bubbling up. So let's refresh and check again. So the parent listener did not work. That is because we have stopped the propagation. And finally, let's talk about the preventDefault function in the event object. Normally in a link, when we click it, it goes to the destination, but we can stop that by using preventing the default action. So this anchor tag has let's get this anchor tag. So var anchor document get element by tag name, and let's pass in the a tag, and this returns a node list. I want the first tag, and let's do anchor add event listener. Let's do a click function, and first I want, and let's get the event object e. Let's say e preventDefault, prevent default, and then do a console log. I prevented the default action. So that is how the preventDefault function works. So if I click this link, it will prevent the default action. If I remove this preventDefault, it will go to this link. There you go. Okay, so that is the preventDefault. Finally, let's remove a listener. To remove an event listener, we can't pass in function literal because we have to know the function to remove. So we have to pass a function by reference. So let's do this. Let's copy this, cut this, and put it into a different separate function. So function header click handler, and let's put header click handler. So let's check if this is working. Refresh and click on this. Parent element listener was clicked, so it works. Now we want to remove that. We remove that by saying header remove event listener, and we have to pass in which event to remove. So click is the event, and we have to add the handler. So header click handler is the function that we want to remove. Okay, refresh and we click on this and it does not work. So that is the removeEventListener. So that is it for DOM events. I hope you enjoyed this. Do share, do like, and do subscribe, and let me know what you want to know next. And thanks for watching. Have a good day.